Are you looking for some easy and fun ESL games and warmers to use in your classroom or online classes? In today's video, I'll share 7 of my favorite games for teaching ESL students of all levels and ages. They're quick, they're easy to prepare, and they are perfect for busy teachers. If you try out any of these games in your classroom, let me know by leaving a comment down below. The first easy ESL game is Topic Crosswords. This is a fantastic warmer for introducing a new topic or reviewing a vocabulary set. It's best for intermediate level and above, and you can play as a whole class or in pairs or small groups. How to play is you're going to choose a general topic, for example, transportation. You're going to write this word on the board. You can also choose a longer phrase if you prefer, and you're going to have students come up to the board one by one and begin to add related words onto that word vertically. Once you have enough vertical words, you can also add on horizontally as well. The idea is to have every student contribute 1 or 2 words until you have a big brainstorm and it begins to look a bit like a crossword puzzle. Of course, you can also do this activity in pairs or small groups just by giving each group a piece of paper or a smaller whiteboard. You can also play this game online by using the digital whiteboard function. Before we get to the rest of the games, I just want to say hi, I'm Jamie from ESL Teacher 365. For more teaching tips, tutorials, and lots of teacher-brought advice, make sure to subscribe to my channel. All right, let's get back to the games. The second easy ESL game is Whisper Challenge. This game is perfect for all levels and is for reviewing vocabulary or working on vowel sounds. How to play the game is you're going to choose some vocabulary words that you'd like your students to practice and write them on small pieces of paper. Then you're going to divide your class into 2 groups on opposite ends of the classroom. One group will be the whisperers and the other group will be the writers. So give each whisperer 3 different vocabulary cards and give each writer a piece of paper or a small whiteboard where they can write down the word that they think the whisperer is saying to them. So the whisperer isn't actually going to make any noise. They're just going to mouth the words. So for example, microphone. So they wouldn't make any sort of sound. They would just say to their partner, and hopefully their partner understands and will then write out microphone or whatever they thought it was onto their whiteboard or piece of paper. So some tips for this one, because we're not really used to mouthing words in our English class, sometimes students do make a bit of noise. So I like to play random music or sounds kind of in the background to cover up any of these noises that can help their partner discover what word they're trying to say. Additionally, you're going to want to make sure that any groups that are next to each other have completely different words, because otherwise they might be looking at someone else and trying to, use the way they're saying it to help them understand. So just make sure that all the groups have different words. You can switch after the whisperer has done 3 words, and then the writer will become the whisperer and vice versa. Another tip is if you have a multilingual classroom, you're going to want to pair people that have a different native language together. This makes it a lot harder. So for example, a native French speaker with a native Japanese speaker. Because of the way that they're going to form the words, because of their accent, it is going to be a bit more tricky than if you had 2 French speakers, native French speakers, trying to guess the words from each other. You can play this game online as well by spotlighting a student and sending them a word to say in the chat privately. Then they will say the word, and the other students can either guess by writing down the word they think it is and holding it up to the camera, or by typing it into the chat. The third easy ESL game is Grammar 2 Truths and a Lie. This is another ESL game that can be used for all levels. Depending on the grammar point that you want to practice or review, you can choose things like frequency, used to, present perfect, conditionals, and more. How to play is I like to model this activity for my students up on the board first. I write my name, Jamie, and I choose 3 sentences that are 2 truths and 1 lie, in any order and using the grammar point of my choice. In this case, I've used used to and be used to because I have students that confuse these two structures all the time. Then I'm going to have my students vote for which sentence they think is the lie. I will reveal if they were correct and allow them to ask me any additional questions. At this point, I'll give each student a sticky note, or they can use their notebook, and ask them to do the same. Write their name at the top, write 3 sentences using the grammar point, and choose 1 to be the lie and 2 truths. Of course, it can be in any order, so your lie could be the first, second, or third, but just remind them to make sure that it's only 1 lie or it gets very confusing. Then I'm going to have the students walk around and vote for each person and see which one they think is the lie. You can also use this time to go around and check all of the grammar and make sure the grammar is good. When everyone has voted, you're going to go student by student, have them reread their sentences to remind us of what we read and what they put down, and then we'll see if we guessed correctly or not. And if you have extra time, you can have your students ask any additional questions as well. You can also play this game in online classes by spotlighting one student, having them read their 3 sentences, and then the other students can vote using the chat function, voting with a 1, 2, or 3, whichever sentence they believe was the lie. Then once everyone has voted, the reader can reveal what the lie was, and you can see if you guessed correctly or not. The 4th easy ESL game is Snowball. This ESL game is perfect for all levels and ages. Students will practice a specific grammar point, a verb tense, and asking and answering questions. To play the game, you're going to give each student a scrap of paper and write a question on the board. For example, if you won the lottery, how would you spend the money? Then ask your students to write just their answer on the piece of paper, so not their name. For example, they could write travel around the world. But if your students know each other well, have them disguise their handwriting so it's not so easy to guess. Then when everyone has finished writing down their answers to the question, they're going to crumple up the papers into snowballs, and on the count of 3, you can have them throw the snowballs at you, which can be fun, or you can put a target on the board and have them try and hit the bullseye. After they've done this, have all the students pick up 1 snowball each, check to make sure that it's not their own, and then they're going to go around and ask the question to their classmates. So for example, if the paper says, buy a house. If you won the lottery, would you buy a house? If the person says, yes, I would, then they've found their match. If they say, no, I wouldn't, then you need to keep asking other students until you find your match. So the game ends when everyone has been matched up. The 5th easy ESL game is Big Red Balloon. This ESL game is a mix of phonics and spelling practice and a bit of a riddle as well. I first learned it at an English immersion summer camp in France called American Village. How to play the game is you're going to draw a red hot air balloon on the board and tell your students, I'm going up in a big red balloon and I'm bringing a, and then say an item based on whatever spelling or sound pattern you have picked out. So for this example, we're going to use double letters. So I might say, I'm bringing a tree. Then you're going to ask a student, what are you bringing? And have them repeat the whole thing. So I'm going up in a big red balloon and I'm bringing a, at this point, they're not really going to know what's going on. So they could say anything. So I'm bringing a suitcase. But you know the pattern, so you're going to say, no, you're not. You're not bringing a suitcase. I'm bringing a tree, but you're not bringing a suitcase. Then go through your other students and see if they can guess. At this point, they're just guessing random things. If your students are completely frustrated, you can give them some help. So for example, I'm bringing a spoon, but I'm not bringing a fork. So they can start to think, why is she bringing a spoon, but not a fork? Spoon, tree, maybe it will start to click with 1 or 2 students. If 1 or 2 students start to kind of figure it out, you can have them give some examples of things that they're going to bring, and you'll start to say, yes, you are bringing a giraffe. You're bringing a burrito, that's right. It'll probably drive the other kids crazy, but eventually you can explain what the pattern was and continue the game with a new vowel sound or pattern of your choice. Because this game is mostly oral, you can also play this online, and it's a really fun, quick icebreaker or warmer. The sixth easy ESL game is Labyrinth. If you're looking for a review game that also practices pronunciation, then Labyrinth is a great choice. How to play the game is you're going to choose 24 vocabulary words. In this example, I'm using phrasal verbs. So you're going to put them in rows with 4 words per row for 6 rows. You're going to write this up on the board, and you're also going to make a copy for yourself on a piece of paper. Then you're going to select on your paper 1 word from each row, going from the bottom to the top to create a bit of a maze or labyrinth. Next, you're going to divide your students into groups of 2 or small groups and let them know that they need to guess the correct word in each of the 6 rows from the bottom to the top. And when they do this, they are the winners. But because we're reviewing and practicing pronunciation, they need to pronounce all of the words correctly, and they need to give you a definition. The first group is going to choose whichever word they think is the correct one that you have chosen. If they are correct, then they need to pronounce it properly once again and give you a definition. And they'll keep moving up until they make a mistake. If it wasn't the word, their turn is over, and the next group has to start from 0. This is a great way to practice repetition. They have to listen to the other groups and pay attention. They might want to copy some of the definitions they're hearing from the other groups as well as the pronunciation. So this just keeps everyone really interested. Finally, when you have a group that has guessed all of the words in your labyrinth, I like to allow them to become the teachers. So they can come to my piece of paper, use a different color, choose a different path through the labyrinth, and now they are in charge of the game, and I'm just there to make sure that the definitions and pronunciation are correct. You can also play this game online by using the whiteboard function. The 7th easy ESL game is Categories. This is a fast-paced vocabulary game that's great for all levels and can be used in person or online because it doesn't require any materials. How to play is you're going to choose a category to start with, for example, colors. Each student needs to say 1 color, and they cannot repeat any of the colors that have been said by the other students. You want them to move as quickly as possible. So red, blue, silver, da 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 da. If a student hesitates for more than 5 seconds, or they can't think of a color, or they say a color that's already been said, then the category changes. So, okay, now the category is countries. And you're going to begin again with the student who made the mistake, which is kind of nice because then they get the first pick and it's nice and easy. But you want to make a goal of having every student in the class say 1, or if you're really ambitious, 2 rounds of the words related to the topic. This is also a great game for online. Just make sure that you assign a number to each student so they know the person who's before them and after them, so you can play it continuously. I hope this video helps spice up your classroom with some fun and easy ESL games and warmers. If you'd like even more ideas, I have 2 blog posts full of ESL games and activities, which I'll link down below. If you'd like to learn how to make an animated book, then take a look at this video. For more teaching tips and tutorials, you can find me on Instagram at ESLTeacher365, and please give this video a like if you learned something new today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Happy teaching, and remember, the world is yours to teach and explore.